We are going to learn about 5 little line and space notes. We have already learned that this is a music note, the one named quarter note. And we know that this round part of the quarter note is called the note head, and this tall line is called a stem. Now we are looking at 5 lines with spaces in between them. This is called a music staff. When we put those notes on them, these lines and spaces are showing us which key to play on the piano. So we just have to pay attention to where those little note heads are sitting. When this pretty shape called a treble clef is sitting at the beginning of those staff lines, it is telling us to play the higher sounding keys on the piano and to use our right hand almost all the time. We will learn more about that later. Here's a note sitting between the 2 bottom lines of the treble staff lines. Those arrows are showing us that there is a line touching the top of that note head and a line touching the bottom of that note head. So we call that a space note. Now we see a note with a line going right through the middle of its note head. We call that a line note. Now we are looking at a note with just the top of its note head touching the bottom line of the staff. It is also in a space. No line going through its note head, so this is called a space note. And now we are looking at a note with the bottom line going right through its note head. So another line note. Here is a strange looking little note. It is very special because it has its own little line since there wasn't a line in the place where it needed to be. The grand staff video tells all about this note. That little line is called a ledger line. And since there's a line going through the note head of this note, it is also called a line note. All I want you to do is look at the notes I'm going to show you and say whether they are a line note or a space note. Are you ready? Let's go. Line note or space note? Space note. Did you say space note? It is sitting in the bottom space. Line or space note? Space note. It just has that bottom line touching the top of its note head, still called a space note. Line or space note? Line note. A line going through the middle of its note head. Which line is going through that note head? Counting the lines from the bottom of the staff, it has line 2 going through its note head. Line or space note? Another line note has the bottom line of the staff going through its note head. Line or space note? Oh, that special line note with its own little line called the ledger line. Line or space note? Space note. Line or space note? Line note. Line or space note? Line note. Line or space note? Line note. Line or space note? Space note. Line or space note? Line note. Line or space note? Space note. Line or space note? Line note. Line or space note? Line note. Line or space note? Space note. Line or space note? Line note. You have just watched 5 different notes. When they are in a row like this, they look like they're just walking up steps. Watch this video lots of times so you can say line note or space note before I can even say it, and you are correct every time. As soon as you can do this, we will learn even more about these 5 little notes. Bye!